Welcome, Agile friends. My name is Pete Oliver Kruger, and we have a full week of keynotes and sessions planned for you today at the 2024 Product Owner Summit. And you can check those out at productownersummit.org. I am your host for Cross-Functional Track, where we have some great talks like Niels Heoma teaching us about the backlog refinement card game. Nicole Durr is also going to be talking with us about leading with moral authority. But right now, I'm hosting this session with our excellent speaker, Craig Smith. Craig is going to provide advice on the missing links to building a great product roadmap. Welcome, Craig.
G'day, Pete. Great to be with you.
Well, Craig, you are the Global Agility Lead for SoftEd in Australia. All right. And you've been a coach and trainer, I understand, for about over 20 years, meetup host, podcast host, and you were also a board member for the Agile Alliance for a while. So I think maybe my opening question is, what don't you do? Could you briefly tell us a little bit about yourself and about what kind of work that you do?
Can't juggle very well, Pete, but yeah, look, been around the Agile world for about 20 years, and I just really love the Agile community. When I found this community, I found my people. So always found different ways to help people learn and find ways of giving back to it. So yeah, meetups and yeah, I was on the board of the Agile Alliance for 6 years, which obviously was one of those things that was formed out of the Agile Manifesto. So that was a great honor to be part of that organization and still do some work around that. So yeah, anything's fair game. Always up for helping the community in whatever way I can. And yeah, it's great to be here at Product Owner Summit.
So how did you end up coming to a lot of this work? So, why didn't you pick something else for your career? How did this, sort of become your area of passion?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think like all of us, we've all got another thing in our kit bag, another thing we studied. For me, actually, I was when I left school, I wanted to be a librarian. That was my study, and I am actually a qualified librarian. Not that I've found a lot of use for that in more recent years. But when I entered the workforce as a graduate, I went in. I was a mainframe programmer. I guess I worked on COBOL systems. Now I'm probably going to get 1,000 emails from people who need COBOL programmers. But I enjoyed the programming side of it. I really enjoyed the problem solving side of it. But something didn't quite hit that with me. I wasn't really sure that it was waterfall, but I didn't like the big long chains in order to get things done. And it was about 2001, 2002. I was working for a large bank at the time, and I got called into a meeting room with a project manager who said, we've got some consultants who are doing some weird ways of working, and he explained to me that they were standing in circles and writing on whiteboards and pushing screens together. We didn't even know what it was called then, but he explained to me, and I remember my first words were, "That sounds stupid. That'll never work." And it was only a friend of mine gave me some advice to leave my baggage at the door and go and experience this new thing, which was called XP at the time, Extreme Programming. And I remember my first thought when I walked in on the first day, this kind of weird space, but all of a sudden it felt like I was just getting things done. And since that point, no stopping it. I haven't looked backwards, and never would. It's to me, it's all about getting things done. And in more recent years, the product space has been what's called me. And again, all these things are how we get great products done.
Yeah, very true. It is kind of weird sometimes in sort of the way that we work and we do that. Although, one of the things I find is that anybody who's spending a lot of time figuring out how can we get things done more efficiently and effectively tends to come to a lot of the same conclusions. So I know one guy who works in a factory building stuff, and he just like, I just seemed like a better way to work, and he's like totally agile, never had an agile class, ever. So those are few and far between, but we look weird, but there's a reason for it. And so, yeah, like once you get into it, you start to develop that thing. So that eventually got you into sort of the product side of things. And, and we're talking today about product roadmaps. So maybe a little bit about like, what was your product roadmap? What was your personal roadmap that got you into doing more stuff on the coaching side? And so product roadmaps, give us that little intro. Why are product roadmaps an important thing for us to be tackling?
Yeah, I think when we look at things like say Scrum, for example, one of the things that always bugged me about the Scrum Guide, and Scrum Guide's awesome, right? It's a 18-page document, so simple to read, but there's more to the world than just Scrum. And I think one of the things that concerned me when you looked at the Scrum diagram is where did all the stuff in the product backlog come from in the first place? It didn't do a really good job of talking about how we initiate pieces of work. And so the whole process of discovery was something that I was very interested in about how we can do it better. And you start to discover things like design thinking processes and a whole bunch of those just things about the way we can do things better. Working with business analysts and understanding how we can do that. You look at things like Jeff Patton's story mapping. All those things are really cool, but they're all kind of little processes and disparate. And how do you kind of pull those things together? And I sort of thought to myself, well, there has to be, something in the same way that we've got the product backlog. What is it that we can help to tell the story and pull all these ideas together? And that's, when I really started to understand that the missing link, the thing that was missing between the strategic idea that we have and the backlog of work where we're doing the tactical thing is the roadmap. And that's why I call it the missing link, because it actually